Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'm going to finally get around to doing my paper pumpkin alternatives for January. Got my kit a little bit late and then have been doing some other projects, so I finally got to it today. This one is called Be My Valentine, January 2019. And these are my full-size card alternatives. This time I have two using the little animals, and I did one that does use something from the animal, let's see, what's it called? Animal Outing stamp set, because this is coordinated with that. And the only piece that I used from there is I used this little leaf with this cute little frog on it. And I used those leaves a couple of times on the card. Other than that, I did use a little bit of Pool Party cardstock, Melon Mambo cardstock, and some of my own white from my stash. But mostly it's pretty true to the kit supplies. So let me just walk you through what I did for each of these cards. So this one is the first one that I've done here, and it's a Valentine's card, and I'll bring this up so you can see it here. I used two panels from the treat box in the, let me see if I can adjust that light a little bit. There we go, that's a little bit better. And then I popped up my little heart here by using the fine tip glue pen here, a little bit like we used to use the glossy accents, to just pile on the glue and then let it dry, and it creates kind of a raised shiny embellishment over the top. And then I used a white heart, and then on the inside I had this one being a side opening card. I just did Be My Valentine and stamped some of the little hearts in there. So what you need to make this one is we need a card base that is Melon Mambo, and it's 11 inches by 4 1/4 scored and folded at 5 1/2. So there's my card base. Then we need a piece of, actually we need two pieces of Whisper White that are 4 by 5 1/4 here to layer on both the inside and the outside of the card. Let me grab another sheet. Okay, so we'll have one for the inside and one for the outside. And in both cases, I think probably we'll do some stamping. So what I did was, let me show you what's in the kit first here before we get too far. I've already been in mine. The kit makes 24 of these little treat boxes for Valentine's. So there is a bunch of material in here. And as you know, I like to make full card alternatives for mine. And the instructions are always inside. And the colors that coordinate with this one are Crumb Cake, Flirty Flamingo, Lemon Lime Twist, Melon Mambo, Petal Pink, and Pool Party. So what you get in the kit is you get 24 of these treat boxes here, and the treat boxes fold up and it makes this little box here. And I really don't have any need for these treat boxes, although they are awfully cute. And if you make it up the other way, it makes up in the blue. So you have 24 of these bases. Now, what I did with my bases in almost every case is I cut out from the center of this piece here the biggest piece I could that didn't have one of the score lines in it. And so in most cases I got 2 of these panels, and these panels measure just under 2 1/2 and measure right around 3, maybe a little bit under. So that's what I used. let's see, what else comes in this kit? To make up the way they suggest, there's embellishments that are hearts in Melon, Mambo, and Petal Pink. Then there's a couple of pages of dimensionals. Some people have had some trouble with the dimensionals, and if you just call Stampin' Up, they'll replace them if yours aren't right. We've got some adhesive strips here that are double-sided adhesive strips, 3M. Then we've got our glue dots. Then we've got pages and pages of these hearts, scalloped hearts, and they're stitched around the side here, and it's Pool Party or white. So there's a bunch of those, and then there are also a bunch of these scalloped circles. I'm going to grab that little heart. I might be able to use it. These scalloped circles, again, and these are laser cuts. They're not stickers, and they're this Pool Party on one side and white on the other with a little bit of stitching around the edge. Then there are these laser cut pieces here, and again, there's a ton of them. So here they are. There are these little kangaroos, these chameleons, hearts, and then this little fly on the tail of the chameleon. And then there's some white, I thought there was some white stickers. Yes, there's a page of white stickers. So there's some longer, thin stickers. These are all just laser cuts or die cuts. And then some that are a little bit narrower, but a little thicker. So there's a couple of those, and I'll just take a couple of those out. And that is your kit, and it makes up a bunch of these little treat things. And so you have plenty in this kit to both make plenty of little treat pouches and then still have plenty of material to do some of the full-size cards. So I have cut down 2 of those panels to, like I said, it's just a little under 2.5 and just a little under 3.5, maybe 1/8 of a difference down on both of those. And I have 2 pieces of Whisper White, 5 by 4 and 5 1/4 by 4, and then my card base 11 by 4 1/4, scored and folded at 5 1/2. Then I have a strip of Melon Mambo that is a 1/2 inch long here, and you need it to be somewhere in the neighborhood of at least 3 inches to do our sentiment here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and show you what it is I've done. Also in your kit, this is the stamp set that you get, and it says, "You are one in a chameleon." Isn't that cute? "For you, my friend, to from, love ya, you're so fly." You've got these 2 cute little birds, a cluster of hearts, "Happy Valentine's Day, be my Valentine." This a diagonal stripe piece, a solid heart, "Be mine," and then one of the chameleons, the one with the little fly on its tail. So that is the stamp set. Now, what I've done is on this one, I think we can just go ahead and layer these pieces in, especially on the front here. Just lay this piece down on the front of my card. I love Melon Mambo. It's such a pretty, bright, and cheery color. So here we go. That's down. And then the only thing I raised were the sentiment and the main heart. So what we're going to do is add some adhesive to the backs of these pieces that I've cut. And as long as your 2 pieces match in size, it doesn't matter if it's a little bigger or a little smaller than the ones I cut, just so they match. So I'm going to set this one up so that it's got a similar border top and bottom, and move it to within a little less than 1/4 inch there. Then when I put my snail on this one, I'm going to try and match across here. So like that, and then come out so that I've got the same amount top and bottom. Now on my heart, what I did was I used a sponge and my Melon Mambo ink, which is the ink that came with the kit this time. And I'm going to use my sponge here and get a little bit of that Melon Mambo. And what I did was I just sponged right around my little heart here. Then I mounted this piece on dimensionals and placed it in the center between my two panels. Then on this piece here, what we're going to use is our embossing buddy here, and prepare our little strip. And then on this one, I've got Happy Valentines, which is this one here, and I'm going to use my Versamark here, and I'm going to stamp my Happy Valentine's Day centered on my little strip here. There we go. And then I'll be using my white embossing powder, and we'll just stick this message in the powder, knock off the excess, and there we go. Happy Valentine's Day. So I'll quiet the video while I heat set this sentiment. Okay, and then I just trimmed down the edge on either side of this so that I could put double banner tails on my sentiment. And there we go. We've got our sentiment. I'm also going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back of my sentiment here. And then I added my little heart that was laser cut for me out of the embellishments for the kit. And I put that right in the center. And then I did use my fine tip glue pen here, and you'll see all I'm going to do is drop some of that glue on that heart, and it puffs it up and makes it nice and shiny and gives a different kind of decoration here. You can use the tip of your glue pen to move it towards the edges. Now that will have to take a bit to dry, and when it does, you'll have this nice, almost like enamel, giant enamel heart. And so very pretty, I think. And then I used one of the largest of the rhinestones here on my card here in the front, and I put some rhinestones on the banner. Oops, these rhinestones are coming off. So I've got a couple here. I'm just going to spread around the card. One more. I cut my banner tail a little smaller than this one, so I don't have room on this side. So there we go. There's the card front. And then on the inside of this card, what I did was did another stamp, but in Melon Mambo this time. And I used the Be My Valentine, and then I put some of the little hearts around on the cleaned up my space there. Oh, I did have somebody comment the other day on my grid paper and wanted to know what I had put across it. And what I've done is I took the grid paper over to, I think it was Office Depot, and I had them laminate it. And now I can use it over and over again, and a little bit of alcohol on it seems to clean up even the worst glue that I've got there, or a little spray of Goo Gone does it too, and then clean it up with alcohol and it's good as new again. So on this one, I'm going to set the Be My Valentine a little bit off to the side on this one, and then I'm going to use my little hearts from the stamp set to put one little bunch of hearts on this side and put a couple on this side. And there we go. We've got a nice interior decoration to our card. I should have done that before I did the glue treatment here. So I'll just go ahead and put that in place and be very quick about putting this on the inside. I just can't let that lay down until it's good and dry, and it'll take it a good 30 minutes to an hour to get to the point that it's dry. And there's my decoration for the inside, and there is our first card. So a Happy Valentine's card. The next one we're going to make, I'll set this aside, is this one. And what it takes to make this card is I have a piece of Whisper White, 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4, just a regular card opening. And then I have a piece of Melon Mambo that measures 5 by 3 1/2, and that piece can, let's see, that piece can go right on the card. Yes, it can. Okay, so 3 by 5 1/4, centered so that it's got a similar border all the way around. Did I say 5 and 3 1/4? It's 5 by 3 1/2. So that piece is ready to go. And then on the inside, what I did was I put Happy Valentine's Day, one of these hearts, a couple of these enamel hearts, and some matching paper. So I have this little strip of Melon Mambo that's been cut down to 1/4 of an inch, and I cut it longer than my card so I can get a perfect fit. So I just need to put some glue on the back side of my strip here, and I'm going to put that in place just a little bit from the edge of the card down straight along this side, and then you can use your scissors, your snips, to cut that edge off. And if you make your strip a little bit longer than you need, then you can cut it down and it will be a perfect fit. This I cut out of the other side of this. You'll see on this card I only used one of these panels. So from the other side I cut this piece, and it ends up being around 3 3/4 by 1/2 inch. So again, I'm just going to add some glue to this one and center it along this edge and just push it right up next to the edge so that I have a similar border top and bottom. There we go. Then I took one of the larger hearts and put it here, and then put one of the smaller ones right alongside it. Then let's see what sentiment. I put Happy Valentine's Day. So I'm going to take my Happy Valentine's Day and my Melon Mambo ink, and put my sentiment. You'll notice I'm not putting many of these sentiments straight, and that makes it a little easier to do if you're not worried about straight. So I put my Happy Valentine's Day on this side, and then I put this larger heart right up here above my Happy Valentine's Day. A little glue where I don't want it there. And there we have the inside of this one completed. Now, to finish this last piece here, let's see, I need this piece and this piece adhered together. And these hearts do have kind of a direction, so you want to make sure you're got all of your hearts going in the same direction here. It looks like that one could go over a little bit. There, that looks pretty good. Then I need a small piece of scrap white, and it looks like this one's just about there. Let's see. This is 2 1/4 by 1. So I'm going to trim this on my trimmer at 2 1/4 by 1 inch. Let's see. So 2 1/4. And then I'm going to put this at the 1 inch line. And there's that last piece. I forgot to cut that one. Okay, so this one just adheres to the center of this as well. So I'm going to go ahead and lay that down, and then this whole panel will go up on dimensionals. All right, so I'm going to center this on this piece, and just don't push down until you're happy with where it is. And there we go. And then for the decoration on this one, what I did was, this is what these little hearts punch out of. So in the page of die cuts, you see the hearts pop out of these little centers so that they're completely covered in red. Well, I got the idea that I fussy cut around the negative space on this. So just a little tiny trim on this edge here. There we go. All right, so there's my 2 fussy cut hearts and my 1 plain one that got taken out of there. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the back of my hearts. And I'm going to place one on this end, then one on this end, and then put my other heart here in the center. And then this little heart, because when I put this together at first, it looked like a pair of eyes looking out at me. So I decided it had to have a third heart in the middle. And so there we go. We've got that heart in there. And then I took, as additional decoration, I took these enamel hearts here, and I put one inside of each one of these negative hearts here. And then I had all of my sentiment for this one on the inside. So now I need a couple of dimensionals. So this one now goes on the center of this card. And you could line up 3 of these other hearts and still put these enamel ones in the middle if that's what you wanted to do. About anything would work. Okay, so there we go. That is our card number 2 completed. So I'll move that one out of the way and we'll move on to doing this card. So when I did this card, I used the other side of the treat box. So on this one, you'll see there's the hearts. This is the other side. So what I have here is a card base of Pool Party. 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. And so this panel for the front can go right on the front of the, you know, I was going to put some, and I'm going to do it, put a little bit of sponging around the edge of this white piece on the front. I didn't get it done on that one and was wishing I had. So now there we go. I've got some sponging on that, and this is ready to go on the front of my card base. And then I have my 2 little blue pieces, and these are going flat on my card base in the corner here. And what I did was I set this down so that it had a similar border on both sides. And these pieces end up being 2 3/8 inch square. So 2 3/8 by 2 3/8. And then the white pieces that are layering on top of them, these pieces are 2 inches square. So, oops, you got to get your patterns going in the same direction. So this one I'm going to set down here at the bottom, and then I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. So I have mounted my birds here on a block. There's my bird. Here it is. Okay, and I used my Memento ink on these birds. And it has one bird facing one direction, and basically you want to just get this bird kind of in the center of that block. There we go. And then the other little bird is headed in the other direction. There we go. All right, so let's see, there's my ink top, and there's my 2 birds, and I put this little bird on the top and offset it, and this one at the bottom and offset it, but I need to do just a little bit of coloring. So what I did was I used my blender pen, and I used my Melon Mambo ink here, and I did the tail feathers for both of these little birds in Melon Mambo. So there's nothing special to the coloring. I used Melon Mambo for the tail feathers. For the body feathers, I used Pool Party, and for the beak, I used Mango Melody. So I will just speed through this and be back in a flash. Okay, there I have my little birds done, and I'm going to get a little bit more of ink on my sponge here. And there my birds are all ready to go. And then we have one more stamped message. Let's see, that's the You're So Fly. Okay, so now I need back my Memento ink for my You're So Fly message that I am going to place right here between these two panels. There we go. So now we're ready to put some dimensionals on the back of these pieces and put them into place. Now these pieces are going to come off the edge of this blue piece a little bit. There. And then this one, the same on the bottom. There we go. All right. Now let's see, on the inside of this one, I stamped the birds, one in Melon, Mambo, and one in Pool Party. So I have my Melon Mambo ink here, and the birds will be facing each other on the bottom of this panel. And I'm going to set this little guy down here. There we go. And then I'm going to set my other bird facing him in the in the Pool Party. There we go. And then on this one, I just added a little enamel heart here to the inside, one of these larger ones, and I'm going to put it right there. Okay, there we go. All right, so all we have to do is add this to the inside and add a few more embellishments around the outside edge, and this card will be complete as well. Okay. And there we have our little birds. And you can see on this one, what I did was I added a few of the lighter pink hearts, petal pink, on this one and here. And then I added a couple of these smaller Melon Mambo hearts around the card here. And there we go. There we have our card number 3. All right, last card. We have this one. And this card I put on a base of pool party, 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. And then I put a layering piece of crumb cake on this card. And I think we can go ahead and lay that one right down on the card front. Now, on the white piece, what I did was I used some crumb cake ink and a little piece of scratch paper here. And I used the stamp that had this diagonal lines on it. Now, I wanted to add just a tiny bit of texture to this background. So I took my diagonal lines here and I stamped off twice and then put some of these lines on my little white piece. And some of them are a little darker than others, but I just wanted to get a little bit of texture and color on this card here. And as you can see, we don't have to spend a lot of time on this area because that's going to get all covered up. But up here, we can sure put a little bit of color and texture. Same thing down here. And I think that is just about plenty. All right. Okay. Then I did go to the Animal Expedition stamp set, and I got this stamp. I didn't even put my label on it. And there's a frog sitting on a limb here. And so I thought it would be kind of fun to put the frog on the limb here, and I did it in crumb cake. And there he is. And then I put the same image down here, but without the frog. So I just put some of the leaves down here. Okay. Then I went back to my blender pen and I used a little bit of crumb cake here to fill in these branches. So not a lot of color, just enough to fill in the branches. And then I used the lemon lime twist to do markings on these leaves, just to add another little bit of color. So a little bit of the lemon lime twist on the leaves here at the top and bottom. And then I used my blender pen again to use the lemon lime twist on the frog here, and then again shaded a little bit more with that lemon lime twist to get a little bit darker relief in a couple places for my frog. All right, there we go. So the next thing I did was use my circle here, but a circle in the middle of this just felt too big. So I put some snail on the back of my circle here. This thing must be getting close to running out. It's fighting me a little bit. And I decided where I wanted this, and I decided kind of up on this end a little bit here, and then used my snips to cut off that edge so that I got a little bit of interest with the paper and the color, but it isn't going to overwhelm my card. Then I took, let me see, I think I need to get some of this ink out of the way. I know me. I will put my hand in it or do something else or something worse than that by the time I'm done. And let's see, I need my kangaroo, and here is my kangaroo. Now, I did use my black marker. It bothers me sometimes when these animals don't really have eyes. So I darkened his brow just a bit, and I completed the circle on his eye and added a little eyeball for him here. I just felt so much better. It's a silly thing, I know. I'm going to give this one some eyelashes. Okay, so that's all I did to doctor my kangaroo, and I want to put him right about here, and then I need to do a little bit of stamping for the message on this one. And then let's see, so the next thing is twine. And what I decided to do on this is I have a length of twine that's a little over 16 inches. And I just thought it looked a little bit better. I might do this one without the bow. I'm not crazy about the bow. But I'm going to put some snail down here on the back. And I'm going to anchor my twine right along, oops, this edge, and go around. Oops, what happened there? I lost my edge. Okay, I'm going to do that again. Anchor this piece there. Then there's plenty there to go around 2 times. And I want the pieces of twine to be fairly close together. So there we go. I've got my 2 pieces of twine here on that side. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my kangaroo down, and I raised him up on dimensionals. Okay, so I'm going to place my kangaroo right here. And then I have my sentiment here, which I used from the set that says, "For you, my friend." And I'm using my crumb cake ink here. There we go. And then I thought I would take my pool party and go around the edge. On this one, I thought I was using pool party, and I did it in brown first, tried to correct it to blue, and it didn't work. So on this one, I'm also going to just put a couple of dimensionals down. right about here looks good. And it's going to hang off the edge of this panel, but that's fine because we have 2 more panels to go here before we get to the edge of the card. So that hanging off of there is just fine. So now I'm going to center this on my piece of crumb cake here and put that into place. There we go. And then on the inside of this card, I stamped those branches just a couple of times, and without the frog, I think. Oh, nope, once with the frog and once without. So on my piece for here, I'm going to stamp the whole stamp once, and then the leaves only. Where's my scratch paper? It's right here. And then my leaves only for the bottom. There we go. All right. Now, I have a little bit more coloring to do on this one, and I think on this one, what I did was I just colored the frog. So I'm going to go ahead and do exactly the same coloring that I did on the outside of the card here, and put my little frog in here, and then shade him a little in the darker. There we go. And that is it for the inside of the card. Now, this one, let me put this in place first on the inside of my card. That card, I don't know, I can't make up my mind about that bow. It definitely looks like it needs something. I'm going to grab, I've got some of our metallics sequin mix here, and let's add a few sequins on here. I'm going to add one down here, one on the edge of my sentiment, here and here, and see if that makes me feel any better. Well, I'm going to add some gold sequins then. So there we go. There's a gold sequin. And I'm going to add a couple more. I do like that a little bit better. Okay, so there we go. You'll have to let me know what you think. But it looked like it just needed another little something else. Okay, so that is card number 4. So let me bring back the cards so that you can see them. And there's tons of material left after I made these 4 cards. So there is one of the cards that's more of a Valentine's. This one says, "For you, my friend, could be for anything. You are so fly," with the little birds on them. And then another Valentine's card using the material. Now, I didn't use any of the chameleons in this, but I'll have to tell you that they just didn't do it for me. So I decided to do other things with the cards. There's something about that just didn't have much appeal to me. Anyway, there are the cards from today's project. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator, or you could join my team. Joining Stampin' Up! Right now is a particularly good bargain. It's $175 worth of product for your join fee of $99. And you have an option also to get a craft tote that is an amazing thing for $50. And it's the only way that that is available. And the prize draw, let's see, the prize for January was won by Betty Baker. And so Betty's just, in fact, sent me her list, and I'll get her stuff ordered and shipped off to her in a hurry. Now, my bundle or my prize for February is a huge bundle. Okay, I decided to go ahead and make this Well Said bundle the prize for February. So here is the Well Said bundle, and it has a total of 51 stamps in it. It's got congratulations, birthday, life is better because you're in it, time for a new adventure, you mean the world to me, sending heartfelt, and I'm sure it says wishes someplace. Yes, there they are. Bride, happy friend, baby, birthday, congratulations, love, belated for you, graduation. It's got just about everything. And then it is also the die set, well written framelit dies. And here are all the dies. In this set there are 24 dies. There's a butterfly, an ampersand, a little flower, a couple little flowers, some leaves, there's a bird, and then there's all different kinds of words that are cut out in the framelit. Welcome, thoughts, love, you. It just goes on and on. This is a $75 bundle in the catalog. And if you place an order with me in the month of February, you're automatically entered into the drawing to win this bundle. And so that's the prize draw for February. And that's it for me today. I'll be back soon with more cards and more projects. Bye!